This tutorial series is brought to you by Polygon. Make better renders faster. Welcome back. We are going to be adding a handle to our cup. I'm going to call it a cup, not a mug. It feels wrong. It's made of glass. You can't call it a mug. That's crazy talk. So we're going to add a handle to our cup. So we want to, you remember we added these edge loops at specifically the right point for our handle because we're going to extrude it out. But if you look from like top down mode, you'll see that like that face there, it's actually kind of pointing like in this direction, whereas we really want it to be pointing exactly on that, that direction, right? So make sure that tool is turned on and let me turn off the annotations to remove it. There we go. So what I want to do is in edit mode, that face there, I just want to rotate. So I'm in top view mode. I'm just looking down. I'm just going to rotate it until it's basically, in fact, that was perfect. How did I do that? I didn't hold down control or anything. I just happened to nail it. I'm that good that that's basically a straight line. Well done me. But, you know, just get it as close as you can. Doesn't really matter all that much. But something like that. Okay, so we're going to be taking that face and we're going to be extruding it out. But first, before we do that, because this is made of like, you know, this coffee cup, it's made of glass, and this is going to be like going out, and this is going to be made of solid glass. But we obviously, if we were to extrude this out like this, then you would actually see like on the inside of this cup, we would see like a hole there where like the tube of it is going around, because it's going to apply the solidifier to the inside of the handle as well, which we don't want. So essentially, we need to apply our solidifier modifier before we start extruding. So go ahead and hit apply on the solidifier modifier like that. Okay. So now that I've done that, I can select the face select mode there. I'm going to select that face, and then in front view mode, number pad 1, I'm going to hit E, and that's just taking that face and it is extruding it outwards. Okay, now this is where it's just like copying the reference as best you can. So you can see like at this first point, oh, hang on. It's going to be hard to do this because it's like covering it at the same time. But there's like a little bit, it's kind of like a lip that's like sticking out. So I think right there is for the first extrusion. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to hit E again to about wherever. And then I'm going to hit R to rotate to about there. And then I'm going to switch to vertice selection mode just so that I can select these two vertices. And I want this to now become the sort of tapered part of the handle now. So somewhere about there perhaps. Okay. And then I'll extrude this out. And by the way, I just want to check. Okay, you got both sides of it. That's good. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to move this. There we go. Just so that I can actually see the full, you know, both sides of it without having to peek in back and forth. Anyway, like that. Okay, that's good. And then I'm just going to extrude again. Now you could continue this like extrusion, rotate, but there's actually a tool called the spin tool, which will actually save us some time on this. So if you hit T to bring up the toolbar, if it's not already active, there it is, spin right there. So what spin will do is it will actually rotate, it'll spin, like it'll do an extrusion spin based on wherever your 3D cursor is. So we essentially want to move our 3D cursor to right here where my cursor is, like right in the middle of the handle. So if you hold down Shift and then right click, that is your 3D cursor. So right about there. And then if you were to click and drag, I don't know why it does this. I'm assuming it's a bug in the 2.8 version. But when you click and drag, for whatever reason, it's just like it's done the spin operation, but it's done it like right there. And it hasn't spun it around like it's supposed to. But if you go this little pop up menu thing here, just change this angle, just increase this amount, and then it will actually start spinning. I don't know why they made it a tool, but that like it doesn't actually spin. It has to be a bug. There's no way it's supposed to operate like that, I'm guessing. Anyway, it could be totally wrong. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. But anyways, that's how that works. Now you can see that this is slightly off, right? Like this here. So you can actually change this center value here and get this to line up a little bit closer. So something like that. Maybe the Z axis is a little bit off as well. Just want to fool around with it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, as best as you can. It doesn't really matter. The cool thing about it is that you've got these steps here. So you can like change how high resolution you want this, this part to be. So that's pretty good. So now I've done that spin operation once. Now I'm just going to start moving these by hand to just get them to, you know, line up as best you can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but however best you can. Right, so about there, and I'm just going to extrude this. Extrude this again. That's really all this is. This handle part, it's a lesson in extrusion. Right there. I don't know that if I was supposed to sound clever. A lesson in extrusion. Sounds like it's like a proverb or something, but it's just dumb. All right, so now we've come to the point where they have to join together, right? So we have two faces that need to go, that face and that face. So select the face, hit X, and then faces, X, faces. Okay. Now, so what we want to do is if we took this and then those four there, we can add a face just by hitting F, right? And that will add a face. And we could do that all the way around. But actually, if you just want to save time on all this, I can just Alt-click and then Alt-Shift-click to select that one there as well. And then if I hit F3 and type in bridge, it will actually cleverly do that for us, right? All the way around. So we've just saved ourselves a little bit of time there. And it's done the bridge operation for us. And look at that. We now have a nice looking coffee cup. Ta-da! Now, it's a little sloppy where it like joins the handle there. Definitely looks like it was like, yeah, I don't know, like made out of, it just looks too soft. Like it's made of cheese and then it was melted a little bit. It's not nice. So it's got to be a little bit more defined than what is there currently. So right here, I want to select the four vertices that make up this joint here. And then if you hit Shift E, that is going to, it's going to add a crease. You can see the top left-hand corner, it's got crease amount. And basically you'll have any value between like 0 and 1. And if you go all the way to 1, like it's a little too sharp, it's a little too jagged. So instead, I don't know what value you want to go at, like 0.7, 0.8, something like that, right? Not too sharp, but not dull like it was before, right? And do the same down here. Like creasing is kind of like faking in detail, like, you know, adding in another edge loop or whatever. It's kind of like it's doing that, but just like faking it, right? It's just like putting more emphasis on that edge loop in a way. I don't know how best to describe it, but something like that. Now you do have still these like jagged lines, and you would think that, yeah, like you could fix it by adding in an edge loop there. The only problem is like when you do this, you see that you actually get like a visible edge around the cup there because, it's like it's not, I don't know. You got too much detail on that one little point and it's like it's kind of going haywire, and because you're putting too much detail on that, like, yeah, two edge loops really close together, but not everywhere else on the model, so it looks weird. Instead, what you want to do is just increase the subsurf modifier. So you can see if you increase this viewport level here to like level 4, that's where it like basically disappears and it looks like a really nice connection. So the viewport, that's the one that's going to be viewed here, doesn't really matter. The only one that matters is render. So I'll put render at 4 and viewport I'll leave it 2. And there we go. So that's nice. We've still got time. We've got time for another little part. So the next object we need to add in is, of course, our plate. So yeah, let's do that. So with my cup here selected, I just want to move my 3D cursor just to the center of the cup, that little origin point there. So I'm going to hit Shift S and then go cursor to selected. And that will now, when we hit Shift A, mesh, and we add in circle, which is the object which most resembles a plate, it's now put it like exactly in line with the coffee cup where it needs to be, okay? So the radius, you know, we could, just like before, we can change this and try and line it up, but it doesn't really matter. We're gonna scale it afterwards anyway. The big one is the fill type. I'm gonna set the fill type to N-gon, which will basically put one solid face there instead of nothing. And then vertices, 32 is actually too much. I wanna go 16, which is jagged, but we're gonna use extra subsurf to make the smoothed shape of the plate there. So 16, with a fill type N-gon. Okay, now, here we go. Position this about there. Now, this is where you can really see like the limitations of our reference photo, because like, where do you actually position the plate, right? You can't position the plate here because obviously that's like now like the bottom of the cup, and that's not where like that top of the rim goes, but you also can't position it there, right? So basically the photo has perspective, whereas we're looking like front, like side on. So basically you just have to make your best guess. So it's obviously a raised lip of a plate. So part of it would be like obscured. So probably like about there, like that far up the coffee cup, I'm guessing, is where the plate would start, right? So that would be where like the rim is, okay? And then I'm just gonna scale this in, hitting S, scale it in until it's as wide as the plate in the reference photo. All right, okay. Now, just like we did at the bottom of the coffee cup to like remove that thing, remove that jagged, weird star-shaped looking thing, I'm gonna hit I to inset, and that's kind of like adding a loop cut into itself, like that. And then, you know what? Let's do things a little differently. Because you can see like the shape of this plate here, like it's kind of like sloping down into itself, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna like move this down there like that. Instead, I'm gonna position that about there, and then I'm gonna add in the detail that I need. So I'm gonna go like 3 cuts. So I just hit Control R to add a loop cut, and then scrolling on your mouse wheel will add in more or less loop cuts. And I'm just gonna go with 2 like that. And then right click, which will just cancel its movement and put it exactly in the center there. And then, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna use proportional editing, proportional, which is this one right here. And then I'm gonna set this to sphere proportional editing. Then if I move this down, hitting G and then Z, you can see that now the rest of the plate has that like curved shape to it, which is what I was hoping for. Like that. Okay, and that's the basics of a plate. Ta-da! Nice. So just like we did with the coffee cup, we're going to add a Solidify Modifier. Let's give it a thickness of, how thick do you reckon that is? Probably a little bit thicker than the coffee cup, maybe. So let's go like 3 millimeters. 3 millimeters. And then add a Subsurf Modifier as well. Now you can see that like the edge of this plate here, exact same problem we had like the rim of the coffee cup there, like it's too sharp looking. That's because there's just not enough detail, right? This plane there is really annoying me. So right here, I'm just gonna add another loop cut just to create the rim of that plate, like so. And then right click and shade smooth. Nice, and let's increase the viewport just to try and, yeah, see how that looks in the view. That's nice. Move that down ever so slightly. And now you will notice that if you look at, if you hide the coffee cup, hide the plate, you'll see that just here, like you've actually got like this weird like little lip that comes out of the plate there, which is, I guess, like to like target the cup. When you put the cup down on the plate, it's got to go right in the center there. So it's kind of got like a raised little ripple almost, right? So we can create that. Let's just hide the camera there by going, I'm going to hit Alt-Z just to go into this X-ray mode so that I can still see the solid view, but I can see the wireframe as well. And right about there, actually, right where that is, that's where I'm going to start the lip. So I'm going to hit I to create another inset, and then I'm going to hit I again, and this is going to be like the returning part. So this is the part that's going to be the lip that's moving up, like the little ripple part. But before I do that, I just want to apply the Solidify Modifier because I only want to add this ripple effect to the top part of my plate here, not the bottom part. So now that I've done that, turn off proportional editing and just move that up. And now let's have a look at that. There we go. Got a little ripple effect there. Little notch, little something for the cup to sit into, right? I don't know, feel like that should be a little bit closer in. So let me just select that. Oh, I've got too many vertices here now. In fact, you know, I mean, I did it the wrong way around. So let's just fix that, right? So let's hide the plane. Bring this edge loop here. I'm going to hit X. I'm just going to hit Dissolve Edge. That's what you do if you add an edge that you don't need, right? So, and then I'll just scale that in so that that's like the bottom flat plane of the plate. Cool. And now back into Alt-Z, toggle X-ray mode. I'm going to select this, and let's just bring this in a little bit. And then this as well, bring that in a little bit. And then, because it's kind of hard to see, like it's a little bit too smoothed out, we're going to add in some extra loop cuts here as well. So everywhere you add a loop cut and you bring it in, it's just going to like sharpen that like smoothing effect, right? So it's going to make it a little bit more obvious. So now that I've done that, you can see that that lip there is more obvious than it was before. And I'll do the exact same thing for this inner part. So let's select that. Well, not the exact same thing. I'm going to select that one solid face there because it's the center, and I'll hit I to create, because you can't do a loop cut within like one solid face. You have to hit I to like, yeah, inset it. So yeah, there you go. We got the plate. We got the plate for our coffee cup. Look at that. We accomplished so much in one video. So well done. We've basically finished the modeling of the plate and the coffee cup. In the next part, we're going to get into the materials and start making this thing look like glass. So click that video and I will see you there.